I found him. Maya didn't look up. Another false lead. No. I placed the paper in front of her. This one's real. I found their address. She stared at it for a long second. This is from How Did You Get Sealed Adoption Records. I know someone. It doesn't matter. I'm going. You're shaking. I'm going. Maya stood, grabbed my hands. You need to think. If your son, what if he doesn't remember you? He won't. But I'll remember him. I sat back, breathing like I had to remind my lungs to work. My hands still smelled faintly of hospital soap. 10 years ago, I held my baby for 5 hours. 5. That was all they gave me before Daniel vanished with him. No note, no phone call, just an empty crib and a nurse who said, "You checked out already." They all thought I was crazy. She made it up. They whispered, postpartum psychosis. But Maya never did. You're sure about this? She asked. Quieter now. Yes. I pushed the paper closer. That's his name. Caleb. Maya swallowed. You really named him that? I did. And Daniel kept it. She nodded slowly. When are you going? Tonight. Alone? I have to. I need him to see my face. Not yours. Not a cop's. Mine. Maya looked at me like she was about to say something else, then stopped. Call me if no. When it's over. I hugged her. It felt like I was hugging the last sane part of myself. Driving through the night felt like being trapped in a dream I'd had too many times. My palms were sweating. My heart was too loud. The lights blurred. The GPS counted down. 10 years of searching, 3 jobs, 2 therapists, 1 suicide attempt. And now a door. I parked down the street and walked up slow. My knees wanted to buckle. My fists stayed clenched. The house was small, clean, warm yellow light from the windows. I heard a laugh, a boy's. I reached the porch, lifted my hand, knocked out footsteps. The door opened. Hi. He looked like me. The eyes, the mouth, my nose. 13, maybe 14. I couldn't breathe. Can I help you? He asked. I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. Then, Caleb. The voice stabbed through me. Daniel. He stepped into view, still handsome, a little older, same confident stance. He froze. Our eyes met. I said nothing. He blinked, then smiled. You must be lost. I shook my head. No, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. His smile cracked. Caleb. Go inside. The boy looked between us. But now, Caleb hesitated, then backed into the house. Daniel stepped outside, closing the door behind him. What the hell are you doing here? I tilted my head. You don't know? His jaw tightened. You shouldn't be here. I know. That's why I am. You're going to scare him. You mean like you scared me? He exhaled sharply. You were unstable. You left. No, Daniel, you left. With my baby. He was better off. Don't say that. He looked away. You had nothing. No home. No job. You were barely. I was his mother. He doesn't know you. But I know him. He stepped closer. If you do anything to ruin this life, I won't. I'll only ruin yours. The door opened again. A woman stepped out. Blonde, confident, protective. Daniel. Who is she? I didn't answer. I looked at her, then back at him. He hesitated. No one. I turned to walk away. Not because I was scared, because I wasn't, because I had a name, a face, a voice, and because this wasn't the end. It was the beginning. I raised my hand to knock again, but the door creaked open before I could. Hey, my throat tightened. He stood there in a wrinkled hoodie, earbuds tangled around his neck. Shaggy brown hair falling into wide hazel eyes. My eyes. Can I help you? I swallowed hard. Hi. My voice cracked. What's your name? He blinked. Caleb. My knees almost gave out. I gripped the porch railing. Are you okay? He asked, tilting his head. I looked at him. Really looked. You look just like your mother. He furrowed his brow. Do you know her? Before I could answer, I heard him. Caleb. Daniel's voice, smooth and sharp. I turned. He was there, barefoot in jeans and a crisp button-up, holding a coffee mug like he hadn't just stolen half my life. His eyes met mine. He froze. Then the smirk came. You must be lost. I didn't move. I didn't speak. I looked at Caleb. Daniel stepped forward quickly. Why don't you go inside? Bud, I've got this. But now, Caleb hesitated, then disappeared behind the door. I stared at it like I could still see him through it. Daniel leaned against the frame, blocking my view. What the hell do you think you're doing? I found him. No, he snapped. You don't just show up here. I laughed once. Bitter, says the man who vanished with my baby in the middle of the night. You were unstable. I did what I had to do. You drugged me. My voice shook. You took him while I slept. I saved him. I stepped closer. You don't get to rewrite that night. He narrowed his eyes. If you make a scene, I'll call the police. Do it. He paused. I dare you. I whispered. The door opened again. A woman stepped out. Blonde, sharp features. Daniel, who is this? He straightened. She's no one. I'm not talking to you. I turned to her. Lena, right? She stiffened. How do you know my name? I know everything, including the adoption record you and Daniel buried. Her expression flickered. You need to leave. I'm his mother. No, she said. You gave him up. That's what he told you. Daniel grabbed my arm. You need to go. No. I yanked free. Touch me again and I scream. Lena stepped between us. You're upsetting him. He deserves the truth. He has a life, friends, school, a future. You showing up threatens all of that. I'm not here to hurt him. She didn't blink. But you will. I stared at her. One day. He's going to ask where he came from. What will you tell him? She faltered. Daniel stepped in. We'll tell him what he needs to know. I shook my head. You don't get to decide that anymore. You're not his mother. He spat. I never stopped being his mother. The silence that followed was razor sharp. I stepped back, breathing in the cold air like it could hold me together. You haven't seen the last of me. I said. You say that like it's a threat. No. I said, it's a promise. Then, I turned and walked away. My hands were still shaking. But not from fear. This time, it was something else. Hope. Leave now, or I call the cops, Daniel said. Arms crossed, voice low. Do it, I said, stepping inside. Then I call the press. Headlines like, Father fakes adoption. Steals baby from hospital bed. Want that on record. His jaw twitched. Lena stood behind him, arms folded tight. Daniel, maybe we should. She's unstable. He snapped. I smiled coldly, still using that line. He turned to me. You weren't well, you disappeared. I was drugged. You left. Don't lie to her. Daniel, not this time. He glanced at Lena, who now looked at him like she didn't fully know who she'd married. Let's talk, he muttered. Inside, away from Caleb, I followed them in. The living room was too clean, too quiet. Caleb sat on the couch, earbuds in, tapping his phone. He looked up. What's going on? Nothing. Bud, Daniel said quickly. Grown-up stuff. Go to your room. Caleb hesitated. But no, Lena stepped forward. Sweetheart, it's okay, just for a bit. He left, eyes flicking back to me once. I saw the question already forming. We sat at the dining table. I didn't touch the glass of water Lena placed in front of me. Daniel leaned forward. Whatever fantasy you're chasing, it's dangerous. I stared at him. Tell me again what you told her. I told her the truth. You left him in a shelter. No name, no contact. You really said that. I looked at Lena, and you believed it. She didn't answer. I pulled a photo from my coat pocket, slid it across the table. It was worn, edges frayed. Me, in a hospital gown, holding a red-faced newborn. Caleb. Daniel went still. Lena's eyes locked on it. I had just fed him, I said softly. He hiccuped. I kissed his forehead. Daniel cleared his throat. That proves nothing. Try again. I whispered. I don't know what scam you're pulling. No scam. I cut in. Just the truth you buried. I saved him from you. He hissed. You were a wreck. Barely conscious. You couldn't even sign the birth certificate. You never gave me the chance. I gave him a life. You stole mine. Lena pushed her chair back slightly. Daniel, why didn't you tell me about this photo? I didn't think it mattered. He said quickly, you said she didn't want him. She didn't. She looks like she wanted him. Lena said quietly. Daniel's fists clenched. You weren't there. And now I wish I had been. She muttered. I leaned forward. You forged everything, didn't you? The adoption papers, the name change. You made me disappear from the record. Daniel stood abruptly. This conversation is over. Sit down. He froze. I didn't yell. I didn't even raise my voice. I just said it like I meant it. And he sat. I've spent 10 years looking. I said. I never gave up. Not once. I knew something was wrong the moment I woke up and he was gone. You left me there like trash. You were always dramatic. No, I was in love. And stupid. Lena stared at him. How did you get the papers? I had help. He muttered. From who? It doesn't matter. It matters to me. He glared at me. You'll destroy him. No, I said. I'm here to make sure he knows the truth. You think he'll love you? I don't care if he hates me, I said. But he'll know who I am. He'll know I never stopped looking. Lena's voice was barely a whisper. You lied to me. Daniel didn't respond. I pushed back my chair. You always said I was weak. That I'd break. I looked him in the eye. But I'm still here. I left the photo on the table. Show it to him when you're ready, I said to Lena. Or don't. But I'll be back. No one stopped me this time. No shouting. No threats. Just silence and the sound of lies unraveling. He told me you died, Lena whispered. My breath caught. He said what? She looked around nervously before slipping into the booth across from me. The coffee shop buzzed around us. But we sat in our own cold bubble. He said you were his ex, that you passed away right after childbirth. Complications, he said. I stared. And you believed him? I had no reason not to. Her hands trembled as she pulled something from her purse. But I found these last night. She spread them on the table. Baby photos. Some I hadn't seen in years. That one, I pointed with shaking fingers. That's me in the hospital bed. Lena's eyes flicked up. I didn't know who it was. He told me it was Caleb's birth mother. That it was part of the closed adoption. That's not an adoption, I snapped. That's theft, she winced. He told me the papers were legal. That the mother signed them over. I was unconscious. I never signed anything. Her mouth tightened. And no one checked. Of course not. He made sure of that. He knew I had no one, no family, no voice. She picked up a photo slowly. You look happy in this one. I was, for 1 second, before everything changed. I asked him about it last night, she said quietly. About the photo, about you. He got defensive, too fast. And then I knew. My chest ached. You're the first person who's actually listened, she swallowed. Because I saw his face when I questioned him. He's hiding something, and now I know what. I leaned forward. I need to talk to Caleb. She hesitated. He doesn't know anything. He thinks I'm his mother. That Daniel and I adopted him when he was a baby. I should be the one to tell him. Her voice lowered. He's 13. He's smart. But this, it'll break him. It already broke me. Lena looked away. He loves you, you know, even if he doesn't know who you are. Tears burned behind my eyes. He has my eyes. I noticed that too, she whispered. I gripped the table edge. He deserves the truth. He's not a thing to be kept or passed around. He's my son. I know. I stared at her. Then let me talk to him. She closed her eyes for a moment. Let me be the one. My hands dropped into my lap. Why? Because if it comes from me, he won't question if it's a trick. You're still a stranger to him. I shook my head. I don't want you to sugarcoat it. I won't. I'm angry too. You know, he lied to me. He built our life on this. He built it on my grief. She nodded slowly. I need to prepare him. You still love him? I asked out, her voice cracked. I don't know who he is anymore. I touched one of the photos. You were part of his life. You were there for his first steps, his birthdays. I missed it all. She leaned forward. But you're here now, and that matters. Silence stretched between us. Then she whispered, I'll tell him, tonight. But you need to be ready. He might hate you at first. I don't care. I just want him to know. I never stop looking. Lena stood up slowly. I believe you now. Thank you. She walked away with the photos pressed to her chest for the first time in years. Someone was walking toward the truth with me. I stood on the sidewalk, hidden behind the bush near their front window. My hands clenched the straps of my bag, knuckles white. Inside, I saw Caleb sitting stiffly on the couch. Lena sat beside him, her hands folded in her lap. She started slow. I couldn't hear the words, but I saw the way his head turned sharply, the way his eyes widened. He shook his head, then again. Slower. Lena touched his shoulder. He cried, and I wanted to run inside. Grab him, hold him, tell him it was all a lie, that I had never wanted to leave him, that I had never stopped aching for him. But I didn't move. I stayed where I was until the lights inside dimmed. Later, my phone buzzed. A text from Lena. He wants to meet you. My heart stopped. The diner booth smelled like syrup and old coffee. I sat alone, palms sweating against the cracked vinyl. Then I heard the bell. Caleb stepped in beside Lena. His hoodie swallowed him. His hair was messy. My hair. He slid into the booth across from me. Lena sat one table away. He didn't speak for a full minute. I don't even know what to call you, he said. You can call me whatever feels right. He stared at his hands. She told me everything. That you're my mom. I nodded slowly. Yes. He looked up. Why didn't you come sooner? I swallowed hard. I never stopped trying. That's not an answer. I didn't know where you were. Your dad. He took you, lied to everyone, said I died. He flinched. I woke up in that hospital. And you were gone. No note. No trace. Caleb leaned back, lips trembling. You looked for 10 years. I searched every day. I filed reports, hired people I couldn't afford. And then, Lena, she helped me find you. He turned to glance at her. She gave him a small nod. You have proof? He asked. I reached into my bag and slid a photo across the table. That's me. Day 1. He picked it up. That's the blanket in our storage closet. I smiled faintly. I brought it to the hospital myself. Caleb's voice cracked. Did you miss me? Every breath. He wiped his eyes with his sleeve. Did you have more kids? No, I never could. Not after you. He nodded, then looked down again. Do you hate my dad? I was quiet for a long time. I hate what he did, but I love you more than I hate him. He blinked fast. I don't know how to feel. You don't have to know today. He looked at the menu. I'm not hungry. Me neither. Do I have your number? I smiled, blinking fast. You do now. He took my phone, entered his, gave it back. Then he whispered, Can I call you Mom? My throat closed. Anytime. He didn't smile, but he didn't look away. And for the first time, he saw me. Are you sure he's not home? I asked, staring at the familiar front door. Caleb nodded. Lena dropped him at his sister's. She said, We have a few hours. My hands trembled as I stepped inside. The scent hit me first, something between lemon cleaner and old memories. He kept everything locked away. Caleb muttered, already walking toward the stairs. Let's start in the attic. He led the way. I followed slowly, my fingers trailing the banister. The attic door creaked open. Dust floated in the light. Over there, he said, pointing to a stack of boxes shoved behind an old crib. I lifted the top. Baby clothes. A pacifier. A faded onesie with ducks on it. My breath caught. I've seen that in photos. Caleb said softly. My voice cracked. It was your favorite. You wore it home from the hospital. His eyes widened. He said we never had anything from back then. He lied. We dug deeper. One box held envelopes, medical bills, receipts, old journals. Then I found it, a folder labeled private. Inside, hospital discharge papers. My name scratched out. Adoption documents. My forged signature. An older birth certificate. Look, I whispered, handing it to him. Caleb read slowly, lips pressed into a line. Why would he change my name on here? Why say I was born in another city? To make sure I couldn't find you. He flipped the paper. This is criminal. I nodded. It is. Caleb looked at me. He lied to both of us. I sat on the attic floor. He took you from me, told the world I didn't want you. Caleb paced. What do I do with this? You keep it. One day, you'll need it. He stared at the birth certificate again. So many nights I asked him why I didn't look like him. He'd laugh it off. Say I got my mom's eyes. You did. He sank beside me. Why didn't I see it? You were a kid. You trusted him. He looked around the attic. This house always felt heavy, like it was hiding something. It was. We moved to the basement next. The light flickered above. The air was damp. Storage rooms through here, Caleb said, pulling open a rusty door. More boxes, filing cabinets. A safe, I pointed. Does he ever lock that? He doesn't think anyone comes down here. Inside, passports, checks, more documents, different names, I whispered, thumbing through the IDs. He changed his name. Caleb asked, more than once. Is that even legal? It depends on how good your lies are. Caleb looked at me, his jaw clenched. I thought I knew who I was. You still do. You're Caleb, my son. He blinked quickly. And he's not who I thought he was. No, he's not. We packed the files into a duffel bag. Should we tell Lena? He asked. She deserves to know everything. He hesitated. Do we go to the police? Not yet. We get a lawyer. We make it count. He gave a tight nod. I want him to know I know you will soon. Caleb looked at the doorway. I hear a car. We froze. Footsteps. Lena. It's just me, she said, stepping inside. He's still gone. I held up the folder. We found everything. Her eyes scanned the papers. Oh my God, Caleb said quietly. I'm not angry yet. I'm just tired. That's okay, I told him. The anger will come. He stared at his father's signature. And when it does, I zip the duffel shut. We'll be ready. I don't want a maybe, Claire said, flipping through the documents. I want a conviction. You think this is enough? I asked. My palms were slick with sweat. She looked up sharply. Hospital records, forged adoption papers, false identity changes. It's more than enough. I swallowed hard. He'll say I'm lying, that I'm unstable. Claire didn't blink. Let him. His signature's all over this. He's going down. I exhaled for what felt like the first time all morning. What happens next? I contact then the police. We'll have him picked up within 24 hours. Where does he work? Construction firm downtown. He's a manager. Perfect. Public place. Witnesses. She closed the folder. They'll arrest him on the spot. A sharp breath caught in my throat. Will Caleb see it? I'll make sure he doesn't. The call came later the afternoon. He fought it, Claire said over the phone. Called you insane. Claimed you're obsessed. Of course he did. I stared out the motel window. They found fake IDs in his car. The judge denied bail. What about Caleb? He was at school. Lena picked him up early. Did she tell him she's going to tonight? I pressed the phone to my ear, heart hammering. What about Lena? Claire's voice shifted. She just left the courthouse. Filed for divorce. I couldn't speak. I didn't have to. That evening, my phone buzzed. And no number. I answered. Hello, it's me, Caleb said. His voice was tight. Is it true? I wish it wasn't. He paused. They said he could go to prison. He might. For a long time. Silence. Then, he said you didn't want me. That you left. I never stopped looking for you. Another beat. Why didn't you find me sooner? I tried. He erased every trail. I found the photo in that box. He said, the one of you holding me. I remember the moment it was taken. You were minutes old. His voice cracked. Why would he do that? Because he didn't want to lose. I don't know who I'm mad at. That's okay. I'm staying with Lena, he said, at least for now. I understand, but I want to see you. I closed my eyes. I'd like that. I want to know you, he added softly. Tears filled my throat. Then we'll start from the beginning. He hesitated. Can I ask one more thing? Anything? What was I like as a baby? I smiled through tears. You had this tiny cry, like a kitten. You hated being swaddled. And you smiled in your sleep every night. He didn't speak, but I heard him breathe. I think I remember that. He whispered, maybe your heart does. Okay, he said. Okay. Double quotes after the call. I stood still. The silence wasn't empty anymore. It was full of something new. Something beginning. You don't know how to throw a spiral, Caleb said, smirking. I do too, I said, holding the football like it might explode. Okay, show me then. I flung it awkwardly. It wobbled, bounced once, and rolled into a bush. He doubled over, laughing. That was tragic. It had heart, I said, trying not to laugh with him. Not every mom can say she humiliated herself this well, yeah, but you're getting better. He grabbed the ball and tossed it back perfectly. I caught it barely. One day I'll beat you. You can't even spiral. I'm working on it. He grinned and plopped down on the grass. I sat next to him, breathless. You okay? He asked. Yeah, just old. You're not old. I'm mom-aged. He smirked. Still not old. The silence was warm. We watched the sky turn gold. Do you ever wish we met earlier? He asked quietly. Every single day. He nodded. I used to wonder if something was missing. I didn't know what. And now I know. It was you. I swallowed. I'm sorry it took so long. I'm glad it didn't take longer. Some weekends were quiet. Others were full of questions. You ever get mad at Lena? He asked once. No, she didn't know. And when she did, she didn't hide. She said you were brave. I was desperate. She said that too, later, over fries at a diner. He asked, what happened the day I was born? I stirred my milkshake slowly. It was snowing. The hospital heater broke. I was scared, alone. But then you came, and I wasn't alone anymore. He stared down at his ketchup. Did he take me that night? I nodded. Well, I slept. He looked at me, and nobody believed you. They said I made it up, that I was sick. He clenched his jaw. But you weren't. No, I was right. I just didn't have proof. You do now. Yeah, I said. Softly, I do now. Another weekend. He handed me a notebook. What's this? I asked. Write your story. He said. You always say it helps. I blinked down at the empty pages. You sure? You're a writer, right? I used to be. You still are. You're just rusty. I laughed. That I am. I started writing that night. Our story, the truth. Pages turned into chapters. Pin turned into paragraphs. Then one day, it went viral. You're trending. Maya texted. Like, internet famous. I blink at the screen. Check the comments. She added. I did. Your story saved me. My daughter was stolen too. You're not just a mother. You're a mirror we needed. Tears spilled. Not grief. Something else. Mom, Caleb said when I picked up his call. Yeah, I read it. I held my breath. All of it, twice. And you're a good writer. I laughed through my tears. Thank you. I'm proud of you. My voice cracked. I'm proud of you too. He paused. Can I help with the next chapter? What do you mean? I want to tell my side too. Then we'll write it together. Cool, he said. Smiling through the line. That weekend, we sat at the park with a laptop. He typed slowly. I didn't interrupt. You sure about this? I asked. I want people to know what it's like, being caught in between. I nodded. Then say it. In your words. He looked up at me. Thanks for not giving up. Thanks for letting me try again. The sun dipped low as he typed. And I realized this wasn't the end of our story. It was the first day of everything. I'm scared, Caleb whispered, clutching my sleeve outside the courtroom. I know, I said, smoothing his color. But you're not alone. His eyes flicked to the door. Will he be there already? Yes. But you don't have to look at him. I want to, he muttered. I want him to see me. The courtroom smelled like cold air and old wood. I sat behind the prosecution table, hands clenched. Daniel sat across the room, looking to clean. To come, his lawyer stood and said, the words like they were facts. My client pleads not guilty. I didn't flinch, but my stomach twisted. The prosecutor rose. Will show he falsified documents, abducted an infant, and knowingly lied for over a decade. Daniel barely blinked. Then they called Caleb. He walked up to the witness stand like the floor might collapse under him. He took the oath. His voice cracked. State your name. Caleb Weston. Do you know the woman seated there? The prosecutor asked, pointing to me. Double quotes, yes. He said, she's my mom. Daniel shifted in his chair. I didn't move. When did you learn that? A few months ago. And before that, I thought my mom died when I was a baby. That's what Daniel told me. Did you believe him? Caleb hesitated. Yeah. I didn't know there was another story. Tell the court what changed. He looked at me. She found me. She showed me the truth. Pictures, peepers, memories. And what did Daniel say? When confronted, he denied it. Do you believe him? No, why not? Because she never stopped trying. She looked for me. For 10 years. You don't do that if you abandon someone. Silence. Even the judge leaned forward. Is there anything else you want to say to the court? Caleb took a breath. Deep and shaking. She's my mom, not just because of blood, but because she never gave up on me. I pressed a hand to my mouth. The defense stood up, straightening his tie. Caleb, you admit you didn't know her until recently, yes. So how can you trust her story so completely? Because she didn't lie to me, not once, and Daniel, Caleb's mouth tightened. He lied about everything, no further questions. As Caleb stepped down, Daniel finally looked at me, smug, like none of this mattered. I stared back. You may be seated. The judge said, I didn't blink. He took my child. He tried to erase me. But I was still here, still standing, still fighting. Outside, Caleb grabbed my hand. I did okay. He asked, you were brave. I said, and honest. That matters. Did you see his face? He asked. When I said you never gave up, I nodded. He heard you, loud and clear. Do you think he cares? No. I said, but I do. He smiled, small and tired. Good. Back at the bench, Daniel's lawyer whispered furiously. Daniel just shook his head like none of it touched him. But I saw it, a flicker. He didn't win. He didn't break me. He stole yours, stole moments, but not my fire that he could never kill. The gavel cracked. The judge said, guilty. Daniel didn't flinch. Neither did I outside the courthouse. Sunlight spilled onto the sidewalk like it hadn't rained for years. You okay? Caleb asked quietly, his fingers brushing mine. I nodded. I think so. I thought you'd cry. I thought I would, too. He looked back once. He didn't look sorry. No, he never was. Lena waited by the fountain, arms crossed, chin lifted. When she saw us, she gave me a small nod. Not forgiveness, not regret, just peace. I'll see you Sunday, Caleb said, hugging her. She held him tighter than I expected. Then she looked at me. Take care of him. I will. Not just his heart, his questions. I know. She walked away without another word. In the car, Caleb leaned back and closed his eyes. So now what? Now we live. He smiled. That's it. That's everything. The apartment was too small. So we packed up the next week. Boxes of secondhand mugs and first drafts. He carried more than I asked him to. Where are we going? He said, balancing a lamp on his hip. Someplace with windows, a yard, maybe, a tree. He grinned. Treehouse. No promises. We found it on a quiet street. Faded shutters, a crooked fence, and a front door painted a peeling gray. But it felt like a beginning. He stepped inside first. It smells like hope. I laughed. It smells like old paint. Same thing. That weekend, he stood in the doorway with a bucket and a brush. What are you doing? Fixing it. With red, he shrugged. Because you're still burning. I blinked. What? But you survived, he said simply, dipping the brush again. I sat on the porch and watched him paint. The mail came. Bills, junk, and one envelope addressed to me in shaky handwriting from a woman in Indiana. Another letter. He asked, yeah, same as the others. I opened it. Dear Elena, I read your story. He took my daughter in 2004. You gave me the courage to speak. He looked at me. You still writing every night. He sat beside me, legs stretched long. What if it had gone different? What do you mean? What if you never knocked? I looked at him, at the red streaks drying across the doorframe. Then I'd still be asleep. He reached into his pocket. I made you something. It was a keychain, a metal heart, scratched and dented. I found it at a yard sale. He said, it looked like you, broken. No, real? I swallowed the lump in my throat. You don't have to fix me, Caleb. He smiled. I'm just finally getting to know you. We sat in silence. After a while, he said, you ever miss the person you were before? Sometimes. But she was still waiting for someone else to save her. And now I save myself. He nodded. Good. He leaned his head on my shoulder. You know, I'm glad you kept knocking. I had to. He looked up at the door. One last brushstroke in hand. You think it's too much. It's perfect. I stood beside him, tracing the dry paint with my fingers. He stepped back, eyes narrowed like an artist surveying his work. You ready? I asked. He reached for the doorknob. For what? For everything. As he opened the door, the light hit his face just right. And I saw it, my smile and his, my stubbornness, my fire. I knocked on his door looking for what I lost. Instead, I found who I was always meant to be.